I start. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Sorry, we didn't start right at 3:55. We were waiting. We get a few more people to join us. I'm John Scheibel, owner and president of SDG Innovations. You may know me, some of you, maybe not. You probably know me as Schutz Dental Group. My company, I changed the name because in the past, rather than working just with the nice products from the Schutz company, I also work with Yeti Dental, NT Trading, Gevdi Dental, and Dreve Dental. So with that being said, I know Brian's got a lot to share with you. So I will introduce you to Brian Carson. Brian, take it away.
Thank you. And thank you guys for spending your late afternoon with us. I've got a lot to cover in a short period of time, so I'm going to speak very fast and I'm going to be plowing through. So in just to head off anything, if anybody has any questions about anything that I've gone over or have any questions in general or want me to expand upon something that I said, please take a screenshot of this. This is my contact information. You can live chat me through my website. You can email me. You can actually call me. I prefer you to text, but you do have my phone number. That's my cell number. And if you want to do the written word, old school, there's my P.O. box. And any of the products that I discussed today, if you have any questions with that or want further information, to the right of the screen there, you'll see SDG Innovations. You'll see John's contact information on there. So just give him a shout out and he can help you out there. Okay, further ado, let's plow through. I have to kind of introduce myself to you because I don't know who's out there. I don't know if you know me, but this will give you an opportunity to kind of understand where I'm coming from, what my frame of thought is, and my perspective on removables, period. And that'll give you an indication of which my vision and where I want to go. I am a second generation technician. I said that hell would freeze over before I came into the lab. Evidently, it got cold sometime in the mid 90s. I wanted to be a ceramist. I was working towards that. And I was really into the creation porcelain, Willie Geller. I just wanted to do that whole thing, make a tooth look like a tooth and all that good stuff. And my dad came into the lab one day and he said, "Hey, we need to start doing removables." And I said, "Hey, no, we don't." And because I had that stigma of, removables was a stepchild of the redheaded stepchild, not offending anybody nowadays calling them redhead, but the stepchild of the dental world. And I said, "No, thank you." So fast forward, I was in an office a few days later. I saw a setup on a class 1 chromium or articulator, and it reminded me of a novelty item that you would, kind of twist up and the little clappers. And in my arrogance, I came back to the lab and I said, "We can do better than that." And my dad said, "Okay." And he handed me an old Hanau knuckle buster set up with 2 models and some teeth and said, "Set it up." About a week later, I threw it in the parking lot. Didn't want anything else to do with it because I realized how hard it was, which kind of created a challenge to me, and it kind of got under my skin. So I wanted to know more. So I went down the rabbit hole. I took as many classes as I possibly could. And I said, okay, if we're going to do this, I want to do something that comes from the prism of a ceramist, making a tooth look like a tooth, not a crown, making it look like it belongs there. And in that search, I was looking for a set of teeth, and I was just having such a hard time. I've had the pearlescents were great. Then I found the Enigma teeth. I thought that was the best thing right then and there, and I think it was like 1999. And Leach and Dillon had those, which introduced me to the world of Ruth Burke and Dr. John Bedsford. Took a couple of classes, was on my way. This was pre-internet, so I'm in Podunk, North Carolina, with not a whole lot of outlet for information. So I was searching on the interwebs one night. I found a dental chat forum. I met a wonderful guy named by the name of Rob Cryer. I didn't know who he was. And as soon as I met him, that was about the same time he started doing his little articles in dental products. He was constantly sharing information. I'm so grateful to him to this day. He mentored me and helped me do my first article. But in the process, I was discussing with him, and he probably doesn't remember this, but I was like, I want to create something that doesn't look like a denture, something that's just prosthodontic privacy. And that's what I wanted. And he said, well, they've been doing it over in Europe forever. He sent me an email with a picture. It took like 30 minutes to download because we were on dial-up. This was like late 99. And I remember when the picture availed, it was a picture from Jörg Stuck. I was just blown away. So I started trying to find out everything I could about Jörg. I have a friend in Canada, Uwe Moore. He started translating stuff for me. He found something that a quote was, yours was to fool the eye of the professional, and then we were off to the races. So with that, that's where I am now. Now with the title of this thing of this presentation today, analog, this isn't in any way to bash digital, because digital is going to be a tool, is going to be around. We just need to know how to conform to it. And the people like Rob Cryer, Eric Kuchka, they are blazing trails and doing all kinds of good stuff. But in the midst of that, you're starting to see some manufacturers pull away, delete certain items in their product line of removables. And I want to be able to share what I use in my lab to let people know there's still good products out there to create removables. And I'm still just a carbon-based caveman. I'm kind of stuck between the world of digital and analog, and I haven't fully gone there yet. I'm very cautious because I saw what happened with Crown and Bridge guys when digital came on, and I want to make sure it's a good fit for my business model. On top of that, I want to see it do a few more things, and I'm sure Eric or Rob can correct me on this. I don't come from the world of I don't come from the thought process of the golden means, golden proportion, everything being perfect, mirror images. I'm not into that. I don't prescribe to the theory of masculine setup or feminine setup. I look at what complements the patient. I look for the unevenness, the oddity of it, what gives the patina, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And the best word that I can come up with that kind of describes my thought process in it is wabi-sabi. And that is the traditional Japanese aesthetic worldview centered on acceptance of, oops, should have moved it. Imperfection. The aesthetic is sometimes described as one of appreciating beauty that is imperfect, impermanent, incomplete in nature. And I like the wabi-sabi of everything. Not everybody's ears are perfectly same. Not everybody's eyes are perfectly set together. And not everybody's teeth are. You can get Gerald Ubisi's book, Analysis, and look at virgin teeth, and you can see that. And I want to bring that over into removables with what I do. And hopefully you can get there with digital. And I don't know how close they are. So let's jump right into it. The analog steps and materials used. I'm gonna keep this sequential so you can see everything that I use. Let's talk about the number one thing, bite blocks. Bite rims to me are just more than a record device. It's a blank canvas. It's something for the doctor to initiate the conversation on creating the prosthetic. Things that I look for in removable prefab bite rim is stability, modeling characteristics, and color. Let's look at stability real quick. I want something that is solid. I don't want something that's mushy. I don't want it to where the patient can bite into it and close hard on one side more than they do the other side. I want it to be an even, solid platform. Modeling characteristics. Even though I want stability, I want something where the doctor can go chairside with a warm bowl of water, kind of warm up the wax, move it around, shave it, trim it, sculpt it, show the buccal corridor. If the doctor wants to create more negative space, left negative space, whatever, I want him to be able to do that or her do that chairside. And the third thing is color. I want something that looks like a tooth or something that gives a delineation between the pink. I hate just solid pink bite rims. That kind of is just mind numbing to me, because you're wanting to create that canvas and you're wanting to be able to visualize teeth in place, and you've got pink on pink on pink on pink. And that really doesn't help me as the technician. It doesn't help the doctor trying to direct me where he wants to put the teeth. So, excuse me. With that, I found Gebde's bite rims. They're preformed rims. These are the vanilla. They also have they have cherry, apple, and some other stuff. But I like these. Not only that, they smell good, and it's a good marketing tool for the technician, because when you're chairside or in the operatory and the doctor heats these up, there's a nice little fragrance that goes around, and that fragrance kind of imprints on the doctor and the assistant and the patient of where this came from. But the biggest thing is the color. I love the color. It gives a good delineation. It's got kind of like a bone look to it. And so when it goes to the mouth, you can tell the difference. And I always give my doctors a papillometer reading or papillometer reading. so they can measure lip drape. Not everybody's 22 millimeters. Nobody will be 22 millimeters, i.e. this case right here. If I had made the bite rim at 22 millimeters, the doctor would be saying, show more. When I set the teeth, it could have just been lost in translation. I set the teeth at 22. Doc may wanted it at 28, or he may want it 28 or 29. Who knows? It was sure as heck wouldn't have been 22. So it'd have been coming back saying, hey, lengthen these teeth. It could have been a reset. But here it is in the mouth. If you notice the color, it delineates fine with the lips and everything else in pseudo in the mouth. It also kind of gives you a look at inside of the ledge. It gives the doctor some skin in the game. It kind of clicks, gets them to thinking, how's this patient going to look when it smiles? And I also like to get pictures back because it gives me more information too when I'm sitting here. I look at this particular picture. What is the first thing that comes out? So you see, oh, wow, a nice high lip line. So in order to keep it from being gummy, I need to see that. So that's why I like these bite rims, for the color, the smell, the stability, and the modeling characteristics. I also like to incorporate those with the Coy's facial analyzer if the doctor has them. That eliminates any cants or anything like that. It gives us a solid place to start setting anterior teeth. It orients that maxillary cast to the articulator well. Ivoclar's flat plate accepts it, and so does the Panadent, because that's what it's based off of. Just remember to adjust your plate to the bite rim to compensate for the white wafer when it's removed, or you'll be in trouble. Excuse me. Whew. Also, let me back up with that. These bite rims are not good for setting teeth to. So don't sit there old school method and just start setting teeth to them. For one, they're not hospitable for the wax is not set up for that. And on top of that, I like to personally send the wax rim back with the setup. That way the doctor has everything in place. So if we get out of step, we don't have to chase a rabbit around a tree. I'll usually take a silicone and make a quick matrix. That way I don't violate the height of the wall or anything out laterally. Your bite rim is your static control base, treated as such. It is a canvas. It starts everything, and it starts the tempo with everything. All right, let's move on quickly to the Tribos 501 teeth. Why did I pick the Tribos 501 teeth? How did I find out about them? If you'll look down right here to your right hand of your corner of the screen, you'll see this gentleman here named Dieter Schultz. He's passed away. He was a tremendous icon in the industry, especially in Europe and Germany. I became familiar with him because I was blessed enough to have a mentor, share bench space, lab space with Russ DeVrug, who is also passed away. He was a great one. Russ and Dieter were classmates. They were together under Poltz. They both studied under Poltz, which Poltz was the godfather of gnathology in Germany. Russ brought back over here to the States the occlusal compass, his kind of spin on it. Dieter stayed over there and continued to teach. Dieter also did the posterior teeth, the Korea pearl teeth, when they were going on with Willie Geller. He came over, he did some research on a fossilized tooth and tried to replicate it and the excursions and everything like that. So he applied the occlusal compass and everything he learned from Poltz with that, and he created the Tribos 501 teeth. The gentleman down on the left-hand side is a beautiful, wonderful human being, Jan Schoenemann. He did a lot of the hand waxing of the V series of the anterior teeth of the Tribos. But back over to Dieter. When I was with Russ in the lab, Russ was a member of a online forum, and this is probably 2008, 2009. He was a member of an online European forum for technicians. And you could actually peruse the video libraries there for training. And he was sharing things with me. And he shared a conference that Dieter was doing. And he was discussing the Tribos teeth. And I'd never heard of them till then. And I was just completely blown away. And I said, I have to find these teeth. So Russ had done some asking around, and I was looking around. And we found out that John Scheibel had just gotten them into the States. I called John up, introduced myself to him. John sent me a sample of the teeth, and I was just absolutely blown away at how lifelike they were looking. And that was exactly what I was looking to help create what I wanted to create. So again, I'm looking for something that replicates nature. This photo clearly illustrates that. On the right-hand side there, you've got nature. That's a natural tooth. And then you've got the VT76 right beside it. Enough said. All right. They're a natural three-dimensional tooth. They're fully anatomical, just like a regular natural tooth would be. They're 3 layers. I like the V series of the teeth because none of them have predetermined contact points. So that gives me the latitude and freedom to move them around and twist and change and interchange teeth without creating a black triangle or making something look off. If you notice, regular denture teeth are already pre-programmed with contact points. And if you don't follow that, it kind of looks kind of odd. That's why. These do not have predetermined contact points, so you can create them wherever you want to. That's the beauty about creating a personalized arrangement. Here's the mold chart. The left-hand side, you got the T66 through the 031. Those are kind of like your standard natural denture teeth. I don't want to call them your grandma teeth, but they're just a natural denture tooth, just a regular denture tooth. And if you look over to the right-hand screen, you got the V series, and that was started by Jan Schoenemann. He did the V16, the V11, the VR11, the 37. He did the 22, and then later Dieter did I think the VR66 and the VT76. I don't want to get misquoted. Hopefully somebody from Gebby's watching this and they can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But I love the V series. They're a natural looking tooth. They're excellent for implant cases because they just got such a huge basal area on the butt of the tooth. They are PMMA resin tooth, but they are injected molded. They call them mega press. They're very, very hardy, very, very sturdy. The posteriors, we'll talk about them in just a second. They do also come in composite, not the anterior teeth, the posterior teeth. You also have the choice of doing a composite. But the best thing about these teeth is I actually have a picture. And if you want to text me or email me and I'll see if I can find it. I tried my best to find it, but it was a denture that I did. And it was almost 6 years old when I went to reline it, and the posterior teeth were opposing natural teeth, and the wear was minimal. And I can show that. You would expect it if it was a PMMA tooth to be completely dished out in linguals. It was not. And I am fervently looking for that picture. It's in one of my other presentations. When I do that, I will post it later. Let's move on quickly to the posterior teeth. You have they're not based on 10, 20, or 30 degree tooth. They're based on morphology. You've got your primary morphology. You got your PMs and your PSs. The PSs are a little bit smaller, but they're kind of like a virgin tooth. They look intimidating, but they're not. They're based on tripodization. If you look here in the lower right-hand corner here, you can see the contact points. They're very crisp. Now, the first thing that comes out of technician's mouth when they see them is, oh, I bet that'll be kicking out, dislodging and that. And actually, no, it's the way they're programmed. With the occlusal compass and the thought process from nathology is that here in the States and most technicians, and normally when we're doing something, when we're creating something, we're creating as if we're leaving centric. None of us really leave centric. We're always returning back to centric. So these teeth are fabricated on that theory of returning back. So the interferences are out of the way. You've got good chewing capacity, a good table there, and not a whole lot of issues at all. Let's go on to the secondary morphology. Those are for like an older patient, more wear facets. If you can see down in the right-hand corner, the blue area indicates the wear facets for the contact points. Again, I could spend a whole lot of time going into this, and I really don't have that time to get into it like I want to. I just want to introduce you to them, but they're a great tooth. You can do a standard setup, or you can do a lingualized occlusion. You can do any type of occlusion scheme that you normally do with any other tooth. You can do that with these. You can do the PMs on the uppers and the SMs on the lower and get a beautiful lingualized occlusion. You can do tooth to tooth, whatever you want to do with these teeth. You can do the same things with these as you do with others. All right. Again, these are the teeth. These are why I picked them out. You can see on the left-hand side of what she had before. Look on the right-hand side. This is what she's got now. And this is the wabi-sabi that I'm talking about. It kind of up close looks kind of weird. And somebody say, "Ooh, she's got a reverse smile." Let's zoom out. When in doubt, let's zoom out. That kind of, to me and to the patient and to the doctor when we did this one, it made her look natural. Could you imagine now after seeing this and then seeing something that was monolithic or even a bleach shade? That would look absolutely horrible. So this gives her a natural look, and I think it fits her personality and gives her characteristics or character rather. And that's why I love these teeth. You can do a whole lot with them. All right, let's move on from that. Quickly on how we set these teeth up. I always set my 6 anterior teeth when I'm doing full and full. I do the 6 anterior teeth first, plus the 2 premolars to start my buccal corridor, how we're going from things. And then I'll take the incisal edge or incisal pin where it's marked. I mark where it's set. Then I close the articulator down a millimeter, half millimeter, depending on whichever the clinician wants to create my overbite and overjet. And then I'll take the lower anterior teeth here, as you'll see. I'll set them in contact with the linguals of the anterior teeth, right? The most caudal point there on the linguals. And sometimes I'll set them a little high, and I have a nice little rubber wheel, aluminum oxide wheel that I use to kind of rubber wheel them down when I'm going through excursions to create wear and wear facades. But I'll set all the lower anterior teeth into play. Once I do that, I open the articulator back up to the original setting, and I use a template to set my lower posterior teeth. And then when I go to set the upper teeth, I remove the canines, and then I set the first premolar and then the molar and then the molar skipping. And some people say, why do you do that? Well, when you look at it head on, you can actually see the buccal corridor, you can see the occlusal table, and you can see where you're setting. And it makes it so much easier. And I never realized that until I had the opportunity to go to Yeti at the training facility there at Gebde and have a personal time there. And it just opened my eyes up completely different, because you can set the teeth more efficiently, quickly, and they just sock in, and then you can visualize instead of trying to use articulating paper, creating artifacts and trying to go back around and trace to make sure everything contacts. Plus, when you go through the excursions, you can get working and balancing very well. And if not, you can just move the tooth a little bit, and you don't have to rely on the articulating paper. You can rely on your eyeballs. Here again, this is a finished case. You've got what you got on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. The Tribos teeth, I love the way they're priced. You can actually afford to be able to mix and match teeth cards. They just interchange beautifully. If I like a lateral more on one card than do the other, I don't think twice about moving it around because I'm creating what I want to. You can even change like A1, mix A1 and C1 together, come up with some beautiful stuff. Let's talk about the base wax real quick. I don't know if I call it non-chafing, but I like a wax that you can take some waxes and run through the flame real quick, and you get this white curling up or knurling of the chafing. I don't like that. That means that you're either overheating it or it's got a lot of additives in it, such as plasticizers and stuff like that. So I don't like anything with additives. I like natural waxes. I like stuff that has heavy carnauba. Because of the oils, it helps polish the wax very, very nicely, especially before investing. You want that. You want your mold to represent what you waxed, and the better the surface, the better transition when you go to invest. Modeling characteristics, I like stuff that is not tacky and sticky. The medium, which we'll talk about here in just a second, it heats up very, very nicely, very low temp. It has a good temperament to it. You can take it and move it around and pull it around like taffy. So I like we want to wax in our contours, and we want a good modeling wax to be able to achieve that. This is not that great of a pick, but this is the Hardy wax from Tribos, the Gebde wax. All the Gebde waxes are top notch. The Gebde and the Yeti waxes, they're all handmade. I've seen them handmade. These are made by hand. Every last one of them loaded, the whole 9 yards. This is the Hardy wax, the H gingival wax. Is a very solid, hard wax. It's good for carving. Carvability is just through the roof. I like to use it as a setup wax myself. But if you like a really hard wax, this is perfect. I prefer the M, the gingiva, the medium. It's got, like I said, it's got that, you can put it in a prophy or kind of warm it up and it stretches like taffy. It just does such a wonderful job, especially when you're doing strip waxing and you're laying it against. You can just kind of move your thumbs with it and kind of help contour it. Perfect. Here is the Optima wax, which is just another phenomenal wax they have in their family. This is a good all-around, multi-season, multi-purpose base plate wax. It is just phenomenal stuff. Oscar told me that Thomas felt like he had made his ultimate denture base wax, and he is very proud of it. And it is absolutely awesome wax. These are the waxes that I use. I also use I call it the hockey puck. It is the modeling wax. I love to use that to go around and make my gingival margins and start my contours and my rolls with this. This also carves beautifully. And I like to come back with my creative wax. I like the nude, cherry, and ruby. These are the colored waxes. Some people say, why do you do that? Well, because it makes me look different and it makes me feel good in a nutshell. But it also gives that little bit to the patient when they're getting in wax, because 9 times out of 10, the patient's coming back to get a denture. This isn't their first rodeo. So when they see that, it gives them a little bit more confidence, and it does a little, it makes them feel a little bit better. Plus, it also separates me from the next technician. So I like doing it, and also keeps me in practice of where I'm laying my colors. I can, for when I go to process, I can actually kind of replicate where I want to put my colors in the negative of the flask when I go to do that. Here are some of the tools I use. I waffle back and forth from electric waxers, but ever since I started using the Jochen Peterson tools, I love, at the very tip top here, you have the Jochen Peterson #1. That is my most favorite carver ever. And then I will use the spatula here, the Jochen Peterson #2. If you look to your left hand of the screen, there's a very fine tip point. It is perfect for getting in the interdental spaces and signaling that denture tooth. And this here at the bottom is, I don't know what it is, but my dear friend Carl Brown gave it to me several years ago. He's from the UK, and I use it every day, and I think of him every day I use it. I use it to go around and carve out my gingival margin around my denture teeth. Absolutely love this. Let's talk about the color waxes and how I lay them down. We'll start with this, and then I'll take that modeling wax, the hockey puck, and I'll start floating it around the necks of the teeth and starting to create my rolls and my root eminence. And then I'll come in with the nude, which is the lighter version, which kind of gives you the appearance of cortical bone showing through where it's pulled, where the tissue's pulled over. Flow some of that on there. Then I'll come back with the ruby, which was the darker color, and I'll go in the interdental papilla spaces there and kind of flow some around there and kind of mix it up a little bit. And I come in with the red to show the mucosa area. And then I come back and clean it up and go over my gingival margins. And this is what the end looks like. And then when I get finished, I love to put some Finale from Yeti Dental on there. It's a wax sealant. I love this stuff. And you got a very nice wax up. So how do we go from wax to acrylic? Let's see. I know a lot of people out there, some of the manufacturers, you know, I think Dentsply quit doing their HIPAA acrylics. This isn't just an alternative. This is just some awesome acrylics, period. They have the Futurgen, they do have the heat and the cold. The cold is like anything else you've ever heard of. The pulver powder is like flour. It is extremely fine, and it comes unveined. And the monomer, the cold, they have some inhibitors in there, the heat exchange inhibitors, which makes it, most cold cure acrylics, they heat up really quick and they do self-heating, hence the cold cure. This releases the heat in time. You can actually put it in the palm of your hand and let it set up and it won't blister you. You add that with some high cross link, it's just phenomenal stuff. And the heat cured is awesome too as well. And if you're looking to an alternative for your processing, this Unipress is perfect for in-house small batches and for in-house labs, small labs, and that you can use it with heat, but it's really designed to use with the cold cure, and it puts it in so much pressure, and it's such a dense product when it comes out. And this is what you got afterwards. This is just another alternative for processing. If you're looking for something different, I like the black wax. Oh, I got a 2-minute warning. I like the black wax, which is the mounting wax. It is great. Instead of using articulating paper, you can close the articulator down, takes a Visa pin. You can see on the left-hand screen where it's starting to shine through, color that, open it up, and you can see where you're hitting hard. Great alternative for that. Nano varnish for, I like to do all of my implant cases, but this is what it looks like afterwards. At the end of the day, I want to create something that fits the patient. And that's something we should all be striving for, whether it be analog or digital. Let's create something that gives back the character to the patient. And I think that's it. I hope I got out of this in time. What did I say, Carolyn? All right, I have to end by 4:30 exactly. So I think, John,
Brian,
Do we
you
have
did great. I think anyone who knows you probably has never heard you speak so fast in your life.
woo! I feel like a
Um,
speed talker. And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
people, but we only had a certain amount of time. I see one question and answer up there.
Yeah.
Let's see. What kind of beard wax do you use? Hey, Josh.
He uses a
I like
finale.
Duke Cannon. I like Duke Cannon.
Hey, everyone, thank you so much for spending your Friday afternoon with us. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions or need any more information, you have all our contact information. Reach out to Brian or myself. And thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, guys.